Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you are safe and sound. I am also all right till now by the unlimited grace of the Almighty Allah. Today I am again before you using our online platform for conducting a class for intermediate second year. Some of you requested me to make a video on transformation. For this reason, my today's effort and this session only dedicated for the intermediate second year students so that they can make a proper preparation on changing sentences. So let's start our class. Look at the whiteboard. Transformation is written at the top of the board, and it is written in red color. Then complex, simple and compound are written and some clauses are there. Before going to the formation of sentences, I would like to mention it that we get transformation in number 6 in our question paper. We get 5 questions and we are told to change the sentences into specific forms. That means we get clues at the end of the sentences. We have to make this or transform the sentences according to the direction. If we analyze our questions, we can see that from these 5 questions, we get 2 or 3 questions from complex, simple or compound from these items, and 1 we get from voice change, that means from active to passive or passive to active. Sorry. 1 we get from comparison of degree. In this way, we are told to change the sentences. Today our topic is transformation, that means simple, complex, compound. You mentioned earlier that you face problem in these items. That's why my effort to make this item easier to you. Sorry. At the beginning, I would like to tell you, you have learned it in your SSC level. That for this reason, I don't want to discuss the primary discussion once again. It will lengthen our classes, but we have a limited scope and our time is limited. That's why we cannot make our class lengthy. So without making any primary discussion, I would like to go to the main point. At first, I will tell you to write down these clauses, and before going to change the sentences, you have to memorize this clause. Look at the number 1. So ... that. When you will get a complex, and if you get so ... that, this structure in that sentence, and if you are told to make this sentence into simple, immediately you have to recall that you have to use to this structure to make the sentence into simple. Okay, I think I am able to make you clear. And if this sentence if you are told to make this sentence into compound, then you have to instantly recall that you have to use very ... and this structure. Okay, if so that is in the sentence, that means in complex sentence, and you are told, if you are told to make it simple, you have to recall instantly that you have to use to or in order to, and you have to use and to make the sentence into compound. Okay. Then go to number 3. If there is though or although in the sentence, in that case immediately we will understand that the sentence in complex form. And if you are told to make it simple, you have to recall that you have to use in spite of or despite. One thing should be noted here, in spite, take a preposition after it, and this preposition is of, but there is no preposition after the word despite. Clear? And if you are told to make this sentence into compound, you have to use but in the middle of the sentence. That means between these two clauses you have to use the connectors or conjunction but. Okay. Then go to the number 4. If there is a when in the sentence, if there is when in the sentence, you have to understand that the sentence is in complex form. You have to use verb 1 plus ing plus extension. That means this is called present participle. You have to use present participle to make the sentence into simple. And to make the sentence into compound, you have to use conjunction and in the middle of the sentence. Okay. If you get since oblique s, it indicates that there is a reason. There lies a reason in the sentence and it is in complex form. You have to use because of to make the sentence into simple, and you have to use again and in the middle of the sentence to make it compound. If there is if in the sentence, if there is if and the clause is affirmative, you have to notice it acutely. If there is two clauses in the sentence, then the sentence belongs to complex form, and you have to use by plus verb 1 plus ing plus extension. It is called gerund. That means you have to use gerund to make the sentence into simple, and you have to use and once again to make the sentence into compound form. If you get unless oblique if plus not, that means negative form, you have to understand that the sentence is in complex form if there is two clauses. Okay. You have to use without plus verb 1 plus ing plus extension, that means gerund form, to make it simple. And to make the sentence into compound, you have to use or oblique otherwise in the middle of the sentence. Okay. If you get when once again in a sentence, you have to think in this way that you have to use in, on, at, during these prepositions before the phrase to make the sentence into simple, and you have to use conjunction and in the middle to make the sentence into compound. This is the structure that we have to remind all the times if we want to get good marks or if we want to create a good command over transformation. Okay. I think all of you are already got the point. All of you have already got the point what you should do to make it clear. Now I will go to the example part. I will provide example for all the clauses. Look, this is the first structure. We will use it in sentences now. The box is so heavy. That I cannot carry. The box, this is the subject, is the verb of the sentence. So dot 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 that. Students, look at the sentence written on the board. The box is so dot 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 that. This is the structure that we get from this chart. So dot 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 that. We get this so dot 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 that in this sentence. That means we are sure now then that this sentence belongs to complex format. Now suppose you are told to make it simple. You are told to turn it into simple. Then we have to recall that if we want to make this sentence into simple, we have to use to in the place of so, and we have to use these two in the place of that. Clear? Now write down it. The box is to is in place of so. Dot 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 means it will replace, it will retain, and this two is in the place of that. We have written up to these two. Then we have to recall that, we have to remind that after to we have to place the principal verb of the sentence. Now find out the principal verb from this portion of the sentence. It is carry. Carry is the principal verb. We all know that after to we have to place the base form. That means present form of the principal verb. That means we have to place the verb carry here. And we have to omit this portion of the sentence. Okay? Once again, I would like to repeat. You have to write down the first portion of the sentence. That means subject and verb of the sentence without making any change. Then you have to write down to in place of so. Then you have to continue the words. That means the words written in dot 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 dot, you have to continue it. Then you have to put to in place of that, and after this to you have to write down the principal verb, and definitely this principal verb will in base form. Now think that you are told to make this sentence compound. Then what you have to do? You have to write down very dot 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 and this structure. You have to use this structure to make it compound. Look at the whiteboard. The box is, we have to write very in place of to or so. Heavy will retain, and we have to write and in place of that or to. The box is very heavy and I cannot carry. Now notice, after and in compound sentence, after the conjunction or connectors, we have to write down a full clause, and a clause is we have to make a clause after by using a subject and a finite verb. That means after this conjunction and we have to use a subject, that means noun or pronoun, then we have to make a verb. Okay, I think all of you are clear. Now we should go to our second example. We will see the use of our second clue. Students, we go to college so that we can learn manners. This is the sentence that we have gathered to see the use of this format. Okay, we go to college so that, students, look at the middle part of the sentence, so that is written in the middle part of the sentence, and after getting this clue, we are sure now that this sentence belongs to complex format. Suppose you are told to make it simple, then what we have to do, we have to write down the first portion. That means before so that we have to continue. We go to college. We go to college. Now we have to replace to or in order to in the place of so that, if we want to make the sentence into simple. Okay, write down to or in order to. You can use any one of these two to make the sentence into simple. We go to college to or in order to, and in the previous example we have learned that we have to put the principal verb in base form after the preposition to or in order to. Now we have to find out what is the principal verb in the rest part of the sentence, and it is learn. It is learned. We have to continue from the principal verb of the sentence. We have to write down the rest part of the sentence, and our principal verb is learn. Learn manners. Look, we have we have replaced to or in order to in the place of so that. Okay, and after to or in order to, we have to write down the principal verb, and learn is the principal verb here. We have to write down it, and we have to write down the rest part of the verb. Okay, now think, if you are told to make it compound, what should we do? We have to continue once again the beginning part of the sentence. We go to college. And learn manners. Look, we have used and in the middle of the sentence in place of so that or to or in order to, and think, we go to college and we learn manners. We is the subject is used in both of the clauses, and we know rules. We know a rule that if the subject of a compound sentence is same, we can omit the second one. That means we can discharge the second one. But if the sentence is dissimilar, we have to retain both of them. Okay. Now go to the third clue. Though he was ill, he joined the function. Though he was ill, he joined the function. This is the sentence that we have written on the board to understand the format. Think you are told to make this sentence into compound. Then we have to read this sentence again and again, and we have to find out the clue. What sort of sentence is this? We get though at the beginning of the sentence, and we know though and although we get in complex sentences. That means this is a sentence of complex genre. We are told to make it compound. Now we have to instantly recall that but is the conjunction that is used to make a complex sentence into compound, where we get though or although. Okay. Now at the first step, we have to discharge, we have to leave, we have to omit this word if we want to make the sentence into compound. Then we have to write down the clauses, both the clauses. He was ill, but we have to use in place of comma, but joined the function. Look, we have omit the word he. That means subject of the second clause, because in the first clause we also get the same subject, and we have already learned that we can leave a sentence, leave a subject if the subject is same in both of the clauses. Okay. Now think you are told to make the sentence into simple. Immediately we have to recall that we use in spite of, or only despite, to turn the sentence into simple. Now write it down. We have to leave this word at first, and in place of though or although we have to use in spite of or despite. In spite of or despite, you can use any of the preposition instead of though or although. In spite of. Then we have to make the subject into possessive form. He is the subjective form. We have to make this form into possessive. That means his. In spite of his being ill. Being ill. Or we can make the noun form or of ill. That means illness. If we use noun form, we have to leave being. That means we have to leave the gerund. Okay. In spite of his being ill, he joined the function. Okay. Have you got the point, students? I think you have. Now go to the fourth step. When I went to the garden, I saw a bird. When I went to the garden, যখন আমি বাগানে গিয়েছিলাম, I saw a bird. When I went to the garden, I saw a bird. Students, look at the first word of the sentence. Here, when is written, and we know if there is as since when in a sentence, it belongs to complex general. We have to use verb 1 plus ing plus extension. That means present participle if we want to make the sentence into simple, and we have to use the conjunction and if we want to make the sentence into compound. Now I will go somewhat fast to shorten the class. I think all of you will get my point. If you feel or face any problem, you definitely inform me or write it down in comment box. I will definitely solve your every problem. At first we have to omit when. Then we have to notice that if we leave the word when, then both of the clauses are principal clause. If we want to make it simple, we have to convert one clause into a phrase. If we want to make a clause into a phrase, we have to leave the subject of the clause. Okay, then we have to find out the base form of the principal verb. The principal verb is here went, and go is the base form of this verb. We have to write down go, and after base form of the verb we have to put ing. If we use ing here, then this verb becomes present participle. This verb takes the form of present participle. Going to the garden. When the principal verb turns into present participle, it doesn't belong in the form of finite verb. Then it is in the form of non-finite verb. Okay. Going to the garden, I saw a bird. Now, if we are told to make the sentence into compound, we have to use and, conjunction and in the middle part of the sentence. Okay, write it down. I went to the garden and saw a bird. Look, we have omit the subject of the second clause because both the subject are similar, and we all know that we can omit the second subject if the subject of the both clauses are same. Now go to the number 5. Students, our clue is since oblique as in complex sentence, because of is in simple sentence, and is in compound sentence. We get the word since in the beginning of the sentence. That means this sentence also in complex genre. Now if we are told to make it simple, we have to use because of. Read it out, read the sentence out. Since he was honest, he was rewarded. He was rewarded. Why? Because he was honest. There is a reason, and we know if there is a reason in a complex sentence, we have to use because of, okay, in place of since. Because of. Then we have to make the subject form into possessive form. Because of his honesty. We have turned the adjective into noun form, because we know according to the rules of modifier we have to use noun after a possessive form. Okay, because of his honesty he was rewarded. Now if we want to make the sentence into compound, we have to use and in place of comma. Then we have to omit the first person part of this sentence. He was honest and was rewarded. Okay. Now go to the number 6. We get if plus affirmative. If the complex sentence is in affirmative form and the word is in that sentence, that means the sentence is with if format and the sentence is affirmative. We have to make it into simple by using by plus verb 1 plus ing plus extension, and to make it into compound we have to use and. Okay, you can get GPA 5 if you study hard. This is the sentence with which we will learn this format. You can get GPA 5 if you study hard. Students, look, the word if is in the middle. It can definitely place at the beginning of the sentence. If you study hard, you can get GPA 5. The sentence might be in this format also, okay? You can study hard. So if you study hard, you can get GPA 5. If you are told to make the sentence into simple, you have to recall instantly that you have to use by plus verb 1 plus ing plus extension, this format, to make the sentence into simple. But before using by, you have to discharge the word if. We can bring this part at the beginning, or you can retain it in its place, okay? You can get GPA 5 by plus verb. This is the verb. That means we have to leave this subject also. By studying hard. You can get GPA 5 by studying hard. Okay. Now, if you are told to make this sentence into compound, once again, you have to use the word and definitely it is in the middle part of the sentence. Then we have to make the sentence logical. You have to think which word happens at first. You have to study first. If you study, then you can get GPA 5. Then that means to make the sentence to compound, you have to bring it at first. Study hard and you can get GPA 5. Okay, I think all of you are clear. Now go to the number 6. Sorry, this is not 6, it is 7. If we get unless or if and the if clause is negative, we are sure that the sentence is in complex format. If we get two clauses there, okay? If we are told to make this sentence into simple, we have to use without plus verb 1 plus ing plus extension, this format, and or oblique otherwise this conjunction to make it into compound. I have written a sentence: without doing it you will die. Without doing it you will die. I have written this sentence from simple format. Now if you are told to make it into complex, you have to think that there is without and ing with the principal verb. That means this is a simple sentence. This is not a clause. It is a phrase, okay? Because there is no subject and no finite verb in this portion of the sentence. Now we are clear this that this is a phrase, not a clause. Now we have to make this phrase into a clause. There is no subject, but we have to write down a subject and we have to bring the second subject into first clause if we want to make the sentence into complex. If you do it, if you do it, you will die. Now look, there is a subject and there is a finite verb. That means this is a clause. Without a subject and without a finite verb, we cannot call a portion of a sentence a clause. We cannot call a part of a sentence a clause. When we will get a subject and a finite verb, then it is a clause. Now, if you are told to make the sentence into compound, we have to use or oblique otherwise. Where? In the middle part of the sentence. Do it or die. Do it or die. Do it or you will die. Now, this is an imperative sentence and this is also an imperative sentence, and we all know if in an imperative sentence the subject is you, always it is you, we can leave it, we can discharge it. For this reason we have discharged the subject of the first clause. Okay, we have to use or oblique otherwise as conjunction in the middle of the two clauses. Then we can also omit this subject and this auxiliary verb. Then the sentence takes the form do or die. Okay, this is the ultimate compound form of this sentence.